Sweet, salty, refreshing, and totally unexpected. Today we're pairing cold buckwheat noodles with simmered Japanese pumpkin. A combo that sounds strange, but tastes amazing. And don't miss the bonus, a creamy, tangy, slightly sweet pumpkin fusion dish that's incredibly addictive. Let's dive right in. First, let's cook our buckwheat noodles. Bring a medium pot of water to a boil. No salt needed since the dipping sauce is flavorful. Add 100 grams or 3.5 ounces of buckwheat soba noodles to the boiling water. Stir gently to keep them from sticking. Boil for about 4 to 5 minutes, but check your package instructions. You want them tender but still firm. Drain immediately and rinse under cold running water to stop cooking and remove starch. Rub and shake gently under the cold water until completely chilled. Then keep the noodles in a colander to drain well. Time for the dipping sauce. Add everything straight into a small saucepan. 1 cup of water, 1 teaspoon of dashi powder. If you don't have dashi powder, you can use chicken or vegetable broth as a substitute. 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of sake, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. Bring it all to a boil. Then turn off the heat and let it cool. I'll have the full recipe in the description below. Now let's get the toppings ready. For the soba noodles, shred some dry seaweed to sprinkle on top. This is optional, but it adds an incredible flavor. For the dipping sauce, chop fresh green onions to add a pop of color and flavor. And don't forget your wasabi. Have that tube ready for a little spicy kick if you like. Let's get the noodles and sauce ready to serve. This is a traditional plate with a bamboo mat to catch the draining water from the noodles. You can find something like this at Daiso, Japan's famous 100-yen store. Want to see what it's like inside? Check out my video linked in the description below. But feel free to use any plate to serve it on. Pour some of the dipping sauce into a small bowl. Set out shredded dry seaweed and chopped green onions on separate small plates. These are your toppings to sprinkle as you like. And keep your wasabi tube handy for a spicy kick if you want. With everything plated, it's time to move on to our pumpkin dish. I've got about 500 grams or 1 pound 2 ounces of Japanese pumpkin here. First, scoop out the seeds. Then trim off a little from the ends. Now carefully cut the pumpkin into small 1.5-inch cubes. It can be tough to cut, so be careful. If the skin feels too hard, pop it in the microwave for about a minute to soften it up before cutting. Now for the simmering sauce. Add these ingredients directly to a large pot. 2 cups of water, 2 teaspoons dashi powder, 1/4 cup sake, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon sugar, and 1/2 teaspoon salt. Bring the mixture to a boil. Carefully add the pumpkin cubes, placing them skin down. Arrange them so they don't overlap. Each piece should be almost immersed in the broth to soak up the flavor. Now lower the heat and simmer gently for 20 to 30 minutes. Test the pumpkin with a toothpick after 20 minutes. When it's tender, turn off the heat and leave the pumpkin in the sauce. This lets the flavor soak in even more as it cools. Once the pumpkin has cooled in the sauce, transfer it along with the broth into a Tupperware or airtight container. Refrigerate it. This dish is typically enjoyed chilled in Japan, which lets the flavors deepen even more. Before we dig in though, let's make our pumpkin fusion dish. This one is really tasty. Boil a few broccoli florets for 2 to 3 minutes until just tender. Drain and cool them quickly. Place in the fridge if you want to speed up the chilling. In a small bowl, add 3 or 4 cubes of the chilled pumpkin. Toss in the cooled broccoli florets. Sprinkle a handful of raisins over the top for a touch of sweetness. Add about 2 tablespoons of mayo. Mix everything gently until the pumpkin, broccoli, and raisins are well coated with the mayo. And now with everything ready, it's time for the taste test. Okay, this looks amazing. I'm gonna put a little bit more of the seaweed flakes on top of the soba noodles. I'm gonna put some of the wasabi here in the sauce. So it would give it a little bit of a kick. So I'll take about like that. Let's put it in the sauce. Ooh, nice. Let's take these cold noodles. It's a pretty cool plate, right? And take a mouthful, I guess. Think about that. Let's dip it in the sauce. Here we go. That is so refreshing. I never thought I'd be eating cold buckwheat noodles, but it has a really wholesome taste. And with that sauce, it's so smooth. And the summers here in Japan are pretty hot, so the cold noodles definitely go well in that season. All right, let's try the pumpkin. This is Japanese pumpkin. It's juicy inside. The outside, see that outside layer there? That's soft. It still has some, a harder texture, but it definitely goes down well. And that sauce that we made, whoa, that's like right inside. You could taste the whole sauce inside this pumpkin. That is amazing, I love it. This pairs up really well with the cold noodles. The pumpkin is slightly sweet and very juicy, and the noodles and that sauce, wow, they go really well together. Okay, time for the pumpkin fusion dish. I'm gonna try the pumpkin first. That is unbelievable. Next, let's try the broccoli. I love it. If you make that pumpkin at home, and I hope you do, I hope you can find it, it's so easy. Just take the pumpkin you already made, combine it with the broccoli florets and the raisins, and then just mix a couple of tablespoons of mayo in there. It is fantastic. You will really love this. It's so good. You've got to try this. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this wild combo, hit that like button and subscribe for more tasty recipes and fun adventures from Japan. See you next time. Sayonara!